We're going to take a look at sculptures which are being displayed in Buckingham, which represent thousands of fallen soldiers ahead of Remembrance Sunday.
Yeah, and John's there for us now. Morning to you, John.
Yeah, morning, Charlie. We're here at Stowe Gardens, National Trust property, and you can see the Standing with Giants silhouettes. You remember them, Charlie, seeing them at Wewerethere at the British Normandy Memorial on Gold Beach to commemorate D-Day. They were there for the 80th anniversary on the 6th of June. They've been a smash hit success here. We were here for sun coming up this morning. Not much of an amazing sunrise this morning, of course, but a very emotive, a very evocative installation. There are 1,475 life-sized figures representing men from all three armed forces, from the Navy, from the Army, and of course from the Royal Air Force as well. That number, 1,475, represents the number of servicemen under British command who died on D-Day, on the first day of the Battle for Normandy in 1944, 80 years ago. The installation will remain here until Armistice Day on Monday, when it will be taken away, but it's been very successful, as I say, lots of people coming and spending a little bit of time. One of the things that of note about them is the way that their heads seem to be bowed in remembrance, in honour of those comrades that were left behind. Of course, these men represent, as I say, those people who died on that first day.
Thousands of people will march past the cenotaph this Sunday in remembrance of those who lost their lives in war.
Among them will be 99-year-old World War II veteran Bert Courtney. He's been sharing his story, including how he met his wife in Germany at the end of battle. With Breakfast, John Maguire.
At the Standing with Giants workshop in Oxfordshire, we're meeting Bert Courtney, who's 99 years old.
99 3/4.
The 3/4 is the crucial bit.
It's a crucial bit, definitely, yeah. At our age, I need it.
He joined the army in 1943, and a year later, as a tanker driver, was refuelling the vehicles advancing through northern Europe, heading into Germany to win the war. The further the Allies progressed, the longer he had to drive, sometimes up to 48 hours behind the wheel. One day, in the spring of 1946, with the war over, he was driving in Germany and spotted a young woman walking along the road.
And I was like, she's hitchhiking. Up in the back, she looks quite presentable. Wonder what she looks like from the front. So we went past her, I looked in the mirror. Brakes.
The brakes went on?
Yeah, brakes went on. I stopped. And she came up and I said, where are you going? Partly in German, partly in English. Pidgin German. We got talking. She could ask a smattering of English. So I said, I'll meet you tonight. She said, oh, OK. So I met her, and from then on, we were a couple, really. Never stopped again.
Melita had left her hometown, fleeing the occupying Russian troops. Among Bert's treasure trove of photos and documents is a pocket-sized card issued by the Commander-in-Chief Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, with orders on how to interact with the German civilian population.
Already modified my orders about non-fraternisation and allowed you to speak and play with little children.
Yeah.
I now consider it desirable and timely to permit a further modification. You may now engage in conversation with adult Germans in the streets and in public places.
But what wasn't allowed was to carry civilians in military vehicles.
No, not at all, no. Army, transport, no. But you don't always go by the rules, do you? Nice to break them sometimes.
Bert had to sign on for an extra year of service as the bureaucracy involved in bringing Melita over to the UK ground on.
It's amazing to read this.
Yeah.
I note you wish to marry a German girl.
Yeah.
And now that you're demobilised from HM forces, it will be necessary for you to submit certain guarantees.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anything for love, you see. That's the thing, isn't it? Anything for love.
He left the army in 1947, and in the spring of '48, a telegram arrived.
My mother said there's a telegram for me. Telegram? From? She said, I don't know. She said, your telegram. Open it up. Christ, I got to be in Liverpool Street 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It said,
So you
4
had-
o'clock in the afternoon.
You had no idea what the date of her arrival was going to be?
Man, it was the next morning.
Well, yeah.
But when I got to the telegram, the funny thing was, they came onto the platform, the women, and they were looking at the men, because they'd never seen them in a uniform before, and we were all in civvies, so... I wasn't none. And then, cool, you look different, you look different.
Changed my mind.
Yeah. Luckily, she didn't. Yeah, I must look reasonable, yeah.
Oh, so you had to pay
Yeah.
for her
To go, oh, yeah.
transport.
And then if I didn't marry her, I had to pay her to go back. So I married her at 7 and 6. I thought, oh, that's a better deal.
11.10.
Yeah.
What's that? £11,
10
10
shillings. Oh,
Okay.
Christ, yeah.
Is that a lot of money?
I was getting about 6 or 7 quid a week.
Okay. That is a lot of money.
I hope she's worth it, I thought, you know. Yeah.
It turns out she was. The couple now had a deadline of just 6 weeks. It was a close-run thing as the authorities had misplaced their documents. But the red tape was finally undone and the knot was tied. Bert in his demob suit and Melita in a borrowed wedding dress. They were married for 65 years until her death in 2013. They had found love amidst the chaos of war, an all too precious thing, the memories of which are cherished to this day. John Maguire, BBC News, Oxfordshire.
Every time we see this, John, it makes an impact. Morning to you.
Yeah, you're right, Naga, not just to the visitors here to Stowe Gardens in Buckinghamshire, the National Trust Gardens. 80,000 visitors they've had here since the installation started at the beginning of October, but also to the veterans as well, because of course this installation, 1,475 soldiers, sailors, airmen, was opened at Versailles, Gold Beach during D-Day, the British Normandy Memorial, and was there for the commemorations earlier on this summer at the beginning of June to mark 80 years since D-Day. And the veterans who saw them, I'm thinking of Stan Ford, of Mervyn Kirsch, were very moved. They told us at the time one of the things that really struck them was the way that when you look at the figures close up, at the soldiers, the sailors, the aircrew, their heads are bowed in reflection, in remembrance, and that's very much what it's all about. And we've found, not just here but also in Normandy, that people have a personal connection, they feel. We spoke to someone this morning whose grandfather's story was told on one of the containers that took the giants across to Normandy and indeed brought them here as well. And he was very touched by that. His mother was here, so it was the daughter of the soldier in question that was very, very moved indeed. They're made from old advertising signs, hand cut by a team in Oxfordshire of volunteers. They had school children, they had service personnel, veterans as well, helping out. The artist Dan Barton, who came up with the idea, first put the installation just near a motorway near his home. It struck a chord, he felt. It was an idea that he'd had, and he decided to expand it. And as he was telling me earlier this morning, he thinks that with various installations over the last few years and around the world, it's probably been visited by around 500,000 people. They will stay here at Stowe, the Standing with Giants, until Monday, until Armistice Day, November the 11th, of course. And as I say, tens of thousands of people have already been here. I know that Dan has lots of different plans for the future for the Giants because they are so symbolic. There is just something about them, standing in amongst them, the way they stand in this reverence, in silence, is very touching and a fitting tribute. Those 3 words, isn't it? Lest we forget. Back to you.
John, thank you very much. They are indeed absolutely stunning images.
But first, the Tower of London has become a familiar focal point for events leading up to Remembrance Sunday. Cast your mind back a few years when the Tower's moat was filled with poppies to mark the centenary of World War I. Well, today the poppies may be gone, but the tradition of remembering the service and sacrifice of all those who have defended our freedom continues. This time with a special display on the tower itself. Sangeeta Kandola is there for us tonight, and Sangeeta, another very visible tribute.
It is. Well, in recent years, the Tower of London has become a significant place for people to gather ahead of Remembrance Sunday. Today, they have launched the Poppy Fields installation, music, poetry and images from the First and Second World Wars projected onto the tower itself. And I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the artist and creator behind this, Peter Walker, and public historian Charles Farris. Thank you so much for joining us. Peter, let's start with you. Talk us through what people are going to see when they come here to the tower.
This is a remarkable place, and what we've done is we worked with historic royal palaces to create a number of artworks to really take people on an immersive fine art journey throughout the whole of the interior here. And they'll go through individual artworks that take them really in a story, have been in the footsteps of the generations before us, through poetry, through beautiful music by our composer David Harper. And as you go through this experience, really that journey takes us in that footstep and what they were fighting for, what their service was for, which was really hope and peace for the future.
And it's really quite moving, especially with the music accompanying it.
It is. That the whole essence is really to give people, even though there'll be thousands of people walk through, it's a very personal, individual thing to think about this and to reflect on our ancestors, on the past and also the future. So the music, the poetry, it all sets that tone for people to spend that time, walk around, be with their family, be by themselves and experience this place with a completely new way of looking at remembrance.
And of course the images on there as well. Now Charles, you collaborated a lot on this, and a lot of the images are from the archives here at the Tower of London.
Absolutely. It was fantastic for us at Historic Royal Palaces to share images from our own archive to tell this important story, including images of soldiers stationed here during the war, even bomb damage, and to be able to share our archives, to share this story with our visitors is a fantastic opportunity.
And talk about the rich history there. Actually, the Tower of London itself was bombed during the First and the Second World Wars.
Absolutely. Well, of course, the Tower of London is known as a royal fortress for almost 1,000 years. But it had an incredibly important role in the First and Second World Wars too. It was a place of recruitment, a place where soldiers were trained, it was a military store, it was a royal prison. It was also a place where which took part in the air defences of the City of London itself. And it's fantastic because today, of course, the Tower of London's community includes the yeoman warders who have all served in the armed forces. So to be able to welcome people to the Tower of London and to share this important history is a real privilege for us.
Okay, Charles and Peter, thank you very much. Congratulations on the installation. And it runs here at the Tower of London till the 16th of November.